Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special Hunger Games Simulator episode. Now, this is the third one I've done, the first one being about Oscar nominated movies or Oscar hopeful contender movies, the second one being about Oscar contending performances. Well, this is going to be a little bit different because we're not talking about performances this time, we're talking about the roles, the characters themselves that these actors have been nominated for playing. What happens if these movies were real and all these characters come out of the screen to battle against each other in the Hunger Games? Now, this, I think, should be very fun because it's very easy to get caught up in the politics of the movies and the actors and who you want to win or don't want to win, what performances you like, what movies you like. And here, all of that subjectivity goes away. It's just the characters themselves facing off against each other. And some of these characters on the surface seem tougher than others, but you never know who might have a hidden fire inside of them who might be able to go all the way. So, let's meet our competitors. From District 1, we have Laszlo Toth and Elphaba Thropp. From District 2, Bob Dylan and Emilia Perez. Again, this is the character of Emilia Perez, not the actor, although the character is not that much more likable than the actor in this case. We have John Divine G. Whitfield and Honora Annie McKeeva, two characters with nicknames in District 3. From District 4, we have Cardinal Lawrence and Elizabeth Sparkle. From District 5, Donald Trump and Eunice Pavia. I'm not going to lie, my main reason for doing these games was just to throw Donald Trump into the Hunger Games. From District 6, we have Igor and Joan Baez starting to get into the supporting contenders now. From District 7, we have Benji Kaplan and Galinda Upland. I decided to go with the GA. From District 8, we have Pete Seeger and Erzsébet Toth. From District 9, Harrison Lee Van Buren Sr. and Sister Agnes. From District 10, two lawyers, Roy Cohn and Rita Mora Castro. Now, you may notice that there are only 20 Oscar-nominated characters, and that leaves 4 empty slots. I was originally going to take the 4 runners-up in their respective acting categories, but after doing some thinking, I decided, you know what, this is my game show. I'm just going to bring on 4 people that I think would be fun to put in a Hunger Games simulator, 4 characters that I would really like to see. So I have chosen Owen from I Saw the TV Globe, my favorite movie of the year. You know me, I'm the animation guy, gotta have an animated character on there. I considered putting the cat from Flow on there, but I thought it would just be too depressing if the cat did not survive, so I put in Rosm7134, who we know is a very good and capable survivor. From District 12, we have Count Orlok from Nosferatu to really throw in a fan favorite into the games. And then it would have just felt wrong to have Elizabeth on there without Sue. You have to respect the balance, so Sue is here. Now, a very interesting group of contenders, interesting group of tributes. In terms of who has the advantage going in, Count Orlok is a literal monster. He's definitely has the highest body count out of all of these and no morality. Technically, he is one of 2 evil monsters in the race between him and Trump, but Trump is maybe not as physically active as some of the other contenders, so he may really struggle with that one. However, the contender that I am really rooting for is Elphaba, because I know she can defy gravity, she's got a lot of magic, she definitely has the leg up on this race, and I bet she can really do some incredible things to survive. Now, I would ask you in the comments below to write who you're rooting for, but let's be honest, if you're in the YouTube comments of this video, you're probably rooting for Eunice Pavia. I don't know if I'm going to make a custom thumbnail for this video, but if I will, I'm definitely going to put Eunice front and center because I'm still here, gets clicks. So, who are you rooting for? Eunice and who else? Who's your 2, number 3? Who are you not rooting for? And with all that said, let's jump into the games. The Bloodbath. As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Agnes runs away from the cornucopia, as does Harrison, both of them getting out of there fast. Laszlo snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag, okay, and so does Owen. Okay, they're both thinking a little bit more practically. Elphaba runs away. Elizabeth snatches alcohol in a rag. So everyone's either running or snatching alcohol in a rag. Roy runs away. Lawrence runs away. Roz runs away. Galinda runs away. And Eunice runs away. Everybody's running away. No one wants anything to do with this cornucopia. Benji grabs a shovel. Okay, thinking practically there. Elisabeth runs away. Pete grabs a sword. Okay, not sure I can picture Pete holding a sword. Amelia runs away. Sue shoots an arrow into Bob's head. Wow. The first kill of the games goes to Sue. Kind of fitting for that character. And Bob is no longer a contender in the race. Bob's just sitting there, lying there going, my ashes, my friend, are blowing in the wind. Donald runs away. Rita grabs a backpack, not realizing it's empty. Maybe the same way that Zoe Saldana signed on to a movie, not realizing it would be toxic for everyone involved. Igor and Divine G fight for a bag. Igor strangles Divine G with the straps and runs. Wow! Igor, you're supposed to be the nice one. You're supposed to not be the Russian thug everyone thinks you are. But no, you go for one of the first kills of the game and you take out Divine G from Sing Sing. That is a shame. Like, Divine G, just like your movie, you were taken out of the race too soon. It's what a shame. Annie takes a handful of throwing knives. You're going to need them to protect yourself from Igor, as it turns out. Joanne runs away, and Orlok runs away. Okay, so with the bloodbath, we have 2 kills on our hands. We have Bob Dylan, and we have Divine G. Day 1. Elizabeth attacks Joanne, but she manages to escape. Okay, so Elizabeth being pretty ruthless, like her counterpart Sue, makes sense. Amelia discovers a cave. Pete tries to sleep through the entire day. Okay, you do that, Pete. Lawrence, Roz, Elizabeth, and Agnes form a suicide pact, killing themselves. Oh no, 4 great characters taking themselves out of the running immediately. That is a shame. That is a real shame. I mean, we've got a cardinal and a nun. It makes sense that they wouldn't want to participate in the violence and stuff. But, like, isn't in the Catholic faith, if you kill yourself, you go automatically to hell? Like, I don't know if they thought that through, really. And Roz taking herself, I really thought she had the survival skills to make it far in these games, but I guess if there's any character who would be uncomfortable with people killing each other and would want peace, it would be Roz. You know what? Knowing her, I bet she's not really dead. I bet she's just putting herself into sleep mode, and then after they take her out of the arena, she's going to find a way to make it back to Bright Bill. Igor makes a slingshot. Owen and Harrison split up to search for resources. Not sure why you want to work with Harrison there, Owen. This is not a good guy, and your story's really sad. I hope you meet better people to team up with. Donald and Laszlo split up to search for resources. Again, like, not teaming up with the best people. A very kind character teaming up with a very mean character. Laszlo, if Donald tells you that he loves immigrants, don't believe him. Benji and Rita threaten a double suicide. It fails and they die. Wow, Benji and Rita. They're actors, 2 of the top contenders for supporting acting awards, even though neither of them are supporting. And the characters both take themselves out. You know what? Considering Benji's history with pain makes a certain degree of sense, but kind of thought that Rita might last longer. Orlok picks flowers. That is such a funny sentence. Count Orlok, who should be, like, the most intimidating character in this game. The first time we catch him alone, he is picking flowers. He's like, dude. Okay, I can't do the voice. I have no idea what he sounds like. Roy and Galinda hunt for other tributes. Again, I know Galinda is not the most innocent character, but still, you just want to be popular. You're just associating yourself with Roy Cohn because you think it's going to help you. It won't. Elphaba steals from Annie when she isn't looking. Okay, Elphaba's thinking smart. And Eunice scares Sue off. Oh, wow. I guess Sue not prepared for how feisty Eunice is and how much support she has behind her. Eunice, maybe gonna go far. Night 1. Elizabeth sets up camp for the night. Harrison cries himself to sleep. Not sure why. He doesn't seem like the kind of character who would be crying a lot, but whatever. Eunice defeats Laszlo in a fight, but spares his life. I'm glad that Laszlo is still alive, but again, Eunice, very strong. Orlok cooks his food before putting his fire out. Aww. I hope that's not a person. I think I would know if that's a person. But again, Orlok's not doing anything violent so far. Orlok is being surprisingly pacifistic this time. Joanne passes out from exhaustion. Okay, has she been singing a lot? Amelia starts a fire. Galinda begs for Sue to kill her. She reluctantly obliges, killing Galinda. Really? Really? Galinda taken out of the race this early? I mean, it's kind of interesting because you'd think that Galinda and Sue would really like each other because they're both like very beautiful and very popular. But Galinda is like, oh, you have that killer instinct that I don't have. I can't last very long in these games. And Sue is like more than happy to take out the competition. Roy, Annie, Igor, Donald, and Pete track down and kill Owen. Oh man, that hurts. That not just that Owen is dead, but that many people decided to team up to take down Owen. Owen should not have been someone who would be terribly difficult to take down. It shouldn't take this many people. I imagine Donald was probably the ringleader, and Roy Cohn obviously works for him. They're in the same movie. It makes sense. And Igor, obviously, Russians are known for helping Donald Trump. But still, Annie and Pete are going out of their way. You know what it is? It's because they found out that Owen, if you watch the whole movie, is secretly a trans girl who hasn't come out yet. And Trump is, like in real life, convincing everyone else that trans people are the enemy. And man, that's just a really, really sad death. And Elphaba questions her sanity. I do not blame her one bit. Day 2. Orlok constructs a shack. See, everyone else is being violent. Everyone else is getting caught up in the hate. And Orlok is just like, no, man, I know that in my movie, I'm a monster that kills everyone. But in the Hunger Games, I'm going to choose to be peaceful. That's good. Great for Orlok. Annie bashes Amelia's head against a rock several times. Wow. Okay, so now officially have no trans characters in the race. And Annie, you know what? I wasn't expecting out of her, but I imagine the Anora fans are going to be very, very happy that she took out Amelia Perez. Harrison kills Joanne with a hatchet. Ooh, first kill for Harrison. And he is pretty brutal, so I can see him doing something like that. Joanne taken out of the running. Elphaba goes hunting. Okay, understandable for her. Sue steals from Elizabeth when she isn't looking. Okay, so these two have a little rivalry going on, which makes a lot of sense. It's always funny when the characters who were in the same movie together get these little interactions, and in this instance, I think it's very much in character. Laszlo camouflages himself in the bushes. Igor attacks Donald, but Roy protects him, killing Igor. What a sentence. Because Igor is realizing now that he doesn't want to be following Trump, and he feels guilty about killing Owen, and then there's a confrontation, and Roy Cohn is like, I will always protect you, Donald. I will always be faithful. And yeah, this is getting a little too real. Wow. Eunice tends to Pete's wounds. Well, that's very kind of her. 5 cannon shots can be heard. Galinda, Owen, Amelia, Joanne, and Igor. Night 2. Pete, Eunice, Orlok, and Donald tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. That is a very odd group to be hanging out together. I mean, I can imagine that Orlok's got the best ghost stories. He's like, it was a dark and stormy night. Donald's like, nobody's gonna take you seriously with that voice. Pete's like, hey, come on, man. Let's all try to get along. I can't do Eunice impression. I'm sorry. Roy attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Sue and Laszlo sleep in shifts. Weird combo. Annie sees a fire, but stays hidden. Smart. Elphaba receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Galinda's already taken out of the race, so it's probably Fiyero helping out Elphaba. Harrison receives food from an unknown sponsor. I mean, that guy's got friends in high places. And Elizabeth stays awake all night. Ooh, that's probably not going to help you in the long run. You don't want to be too sleep deprived. Day 3. Laszlo, Eunice, Elizabeth, Roy, and Elphaba hunt for other tributes. Okay, again, weird groups to be teaming up together. Sue and Annie work together for the day. I wonder what those two would talk about. They probably have some interesting stories. Donald receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Okay, make sure you check who sent that, because if it's Melania, she might have pissed in it or something. Orlok receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Now, that's interesting, because Orlok has not been killing people this whole time, so who's sending him a hatchet? Is it Nock? Is it his servant Nock, who's like, Master, please, you must be killing people in this game, and Orlok just isn't getting it? Pete receives food from an unknown sponsor. Everyone's receiving stuff from sponsors. Wow, big day for the sponsorships. And Harrison tries to sleep through the entire day. No cannon shots are fired that evening. Night 3. Harrison climbs a tree to rest. Elizabeth sets Elphaba on fire with a Molotov. Wow! Elizabeth coming in hot, pun fully intended, and taking out Elphaba, who I thought would be one of the biggest contenders in this race, with fire. And it probably wasn't even the fire that did it, because I actually heard recently that in the Wicked book by Gregory Maguire, Elphaba is set on fire, and then Dorothy tries to save her by throwing the water at her, which is just a really cruel, ironic twist for the whole thing. So Elizabeth, with some help from Dorothy, takes out Elphaba Thropp. Sue quietly hums. I can just see her going, "Don't you know to pump it up? You gotta pump it up." Annie destroys Pete's supplies while he's asleep. Okay, Annie's still a formidable threat in this race. Orlok receives a hatchet from an unknown... Wait, didn't he just receive a hatchet yesterday? This is the second hatchet he's gotten in 2 days. That Nock man, he's persistent. He's like, "No, master, please kill people." And Orlok's like, "I do not want..." Oh, God, I did the voice once. I can't do the voice too many times. But Orlok genuinely doesn't want to kill, and Nock keeps sending him these hatchets. Laszlo receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Well, good to know that someone's looking out for him. Donald quietly hums. Probably Ave Maria. Remember that whole thing of swaying to Ave Maria for 40 minutes and not answering any questions? So much weird stuff has happened, just... Ugh. Roy tends to his wounds. His wounds or Donald's wounds? Because it could be Donald's wounds, the way you phrase that. Eunice dies from an infection. I am so sorry, everyone in the comments that was rooting for Eunice to get far. I'm kind of surprised that she did not get any supplies from an unknown sponsor, because clearly she has a lot of sponsors. So, but I guess the Brazilian hive mind was not paying too much attention during these games, I'm afraid. The feast! It's time for the feast. Okay, this is where things are going to get really serious really quickly. Roy and Annie get into a fight over raw meat, but Roy gives up and runs away. Yeah, just like in the movie, Annie is easy to underestimate, but she packs a serious punch. Donald throws a knife into Laszlo's head. Yep, just like I said earlier, that man does not like immigrants. Laszlo is taken out of the race. Elizabeth dies from an infection. Now that sucks, man. Elizabeth, after she took down Elphaba, I was thinking she could be formidable competition to win this whole thing, but she gets taken out. Harrison decides not to go to the feast. Wait a second. Orlok bashes Sue's head against a rock several times. Okay, so first of all, spoiler alert for the substance, but that is eerily similar to the way that Sue killed Elizabeth in the movie. And second of all, Orlok it's like he snapped out of it. I'm no longer a pacifist. I now remember who I am. I'm a murderer. And Orlok goes straight for Sue, who would have been a serious competitor in these games, but Sue has now been taken out by Orlok. Brutal. and Pete accidentally steps on a landmine. So now he's blowing in the wind. Day 4, Harrison, Roy, Donald, Annie, and Orlok hunt for other tributes. Well, you're not going to find any. You're the only 5 left. And what a top 5 that is, because you've got Trump, you've got Roy Cohn, you've got Harrison, who's awful, you've got Orlok, who's a villain. And so Annie is the only good character that I can root for. I wasn't even a big fan of the movie or the character, but I guess she's the only one left that I can be rooting for in good conscience. Night 4. Harrison convinces Annie not to kill him, only to kill her instead. Well, there goes that idea. Annie has been taken out, and now it's just bad guys. Just bad guys left in the final top 4. Donald and Roy talk about the tribute still alive. See, they're still best buds. And Orlok receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Okay, is it still part of the vampire lore that water can be bad for vampires? Is that holy water? You should check, because that could be seen as an assassination attempt. Day 5, Donald overhears Roy and Orlok talking in the distance. He's like, wait, is Roy being unfaithful to me? And Harrison hunts for other tributes. One cannon shot can be heard, and it's Annie. Oh man, 4 characters left, and none of them are great. Harrison thinks about winning. Orlok loses sight of where he is. Donald thinks about winning. Roy is awoken by nightmares. Okay, so nothing happened that whole night. Day 6. Donald shoots a poisonous blow dart into Roy's neck, slowly killing him. Every time. Every time somebody thinks they can trust this guy, every time someone thinks, no, I've been loyal to him, he's going to stick up for me, he stabs you in the back. Every single time. Orlok practices his archery because he realizes he may need to go up against Donald. And Harrison dies from hypothermia. 2 cannon shots can be heard. Roy and Harrison. Oh, so the top 2 of this race are Trump and Orlok. When I said that thing at the beginning about them being the 2 monsters in the race, I didn't think they would actually be the top 2. This is crazy. Out of all the chances, I mean, it could have randomized anyone. The top 2 could have been Joan Baez or Sister Agnes, like, for all I know. But the top 2 are Orlok and Trump. It's like Alien versus Predator. Whoever wins, we lose. Well, place your final bets now. Orlok severely injures Donald, but puts him out of his misery. Well done, Orlok. The final winner of the games is Orlok, who technically is not an Oscar-nominated role, defeating the purpose, but wow, what a game. What a game. It came down to Orlok versus Trump. You know what? I'd vote for him. Orlok 2028. Make America succumb to the darkness again. That was truly quite a special game. I think out of all the possible scenarios that I could have gotten, I love how there were like character arcs for people. I love how there were characters who were in the same movie interacting opposite each other. It was just weirdly fitting for a lot of them. Now, I'm sure there are some people that you would have liked to have gotten a lot farther in the race, and that is why I'm going to include a link to this Hunger Games sim in case you want to play it out for yourself. But I highly doubt that what you get is going to be more entertaining than this outcome. Wow, this was truly something special. So, thank you much for playing along with me. This is probably going to be the last one of these special videos I do for a while, although I will say, this Brant Steele website does also come with a Survivor mod, and I thought about putting some of these characters in the Survivor mod, but they only can do up to 16 characters, so I couldn't do all 20. I'd have to take some of them out, but maybe I could do that. Or I found out recently about this video game wrestling where you can like make customized characters and have them fight in a Royal Rumble, and wrestling has never been my thing. But seeing some of the videos, it would be kind of cool to see these characters like body slam each other. If you like, maybe I could like get the game and do that with these characters. That would be a fun thing for the channel. Well, let me know, and thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.